morning, I've asked the families of Jared and Stacy, Cady, along with Kevin and Jenny Kampmeyer. They took a trip about 2 weeks ago here down to Acapulco, Mexico. And it was one that was powerfully met with the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ going before them. And I know that some of you may know that the two families that went carry an anointing for this house. And they, with their kids, with their children, made a difference in the lives of many, many people down there. I want you to hear from them of some of the things that went on. Also, to always keep in the back of your mind that a trip like this is not like a fun little vacay, okay? It is not easy to travel internationally, all right? It is not easy to go into a foreign country where you can't even drink the water, and that the things that you're eating are perhaps even totally different to your own digestive system. It's not an easy trip. And so this trip was, in all rightful terms, a missionary trip that was very helpful to the church in Acapulco. Please understand that Pastor Milton, who is in charge of that church down there, which is about 80 to 100 people, I think, does that sound right, that are coming to that church, is helped each month by your offering. How many of you know that? Okay? Some of you do, some of you don't. But we have, as a church, continued to help and sow into that church. Why? Because we know that there is fruit that is being produced in that area, and that it's helping many, many families. So as we hear this morning, I don't know what order they want to go in. If all of them will speak, I'd love that. If whatever they've got, I've left it up to them. So let's just warmly welcome this time together and see what has happened in these lives here, okay? Let's give them a hand here.
Got two. Test.
We got one right up there.
Got one up here. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As he said, we're going to talk and tell you God is just good.
Amen.
And to just be able to walk with him, to know the love of God, firstly, and to be able to show the love of God and spread the love of God is just a treat in itself. Just a reward. It really is what life is about. And so, as I am learning to do those kind of things, as I am growing more, knowing more of the love of God, more of the love for mankind, life happens, and you spread love and make Jesus famous wherever you can, in whatever capacity you're in whatever situations you're in, with whatever you have in front of you. And so partly, I'd say I don't know why we're up here talking or having something today. We just, because it's just living life and having the opportunity to show Jesus to the world, to just live. And life becomes an adventure. Life is fun. Life is enjoyable. And somehow along the way, other people are helped. Other people enjoy it. You see Jesus able to make a difference. You see God working and moving in different places, in different people. Just like you see him here, just like we see him in the United States in different places, in homes, in churches, in people, where we see him in Mexico, in people, in Africa, in whatever it may be, to be able to see the same, the one, the true and the only God working and moving and doing things. It's just, it's a blessing. And it's just a matter of, I think what I want to encourage everybody today is just, in whatever you can do, and whatever opportunities and things you have that get put in front of you, to take advantage of and just do and just step into adventures, into conversations, into life, and just go with God. And God makes a way. And some of the things, some of the situations are, sure, you can, at times you look back and realize, hey, we went through a battle. You go through some tough stuff. You go through some things that wasn't in the plan. That wasn't part of, like when Dad was up here saying before, that it's traveling internationally, it's a hard thing. It's like, hey, he didn't tell us that beforehand. That wasn't. I could tell you that it's true. But it's to be able to know that God will be by your side, no matter if you're traveling internationally, no matter if you have an army standing before you that's there to get you, no matter if it's sickness, no matter if it's financial battle. All of these things are great and are there for the same thing, to try and tear a person down. But you got to know that there's a God that's greater. What I am grounded on, the God that I serve, the God that says that I am his son and that everything that he has is mine, that he means it. And it's only mine if I will take it, if I will use the keys he's given me, if I will unlock what he's given me. That only then is it mine. Only then if I will step out. Only if I will take and use it. Only if I will take and do something with it. Is it mine? Is it worth anything? A pile of treasure piled up, rotten in the backyard, isn't worth a whole lot. Might as well just be dirt. But I've been to Acapulco a couple years ago. We had gone and visited them and got to know some really, really nice people, some really amazing people. And as it is with a lot of people, when you meet with them and your spirit connects, your heart connects, and you can see that God is working and doing the same things in their life as He is in my life, as He is in others. It just helps. It grows. It's such a strength to continue living life, to see that. And so I knew that when I'd been there last time, that, and like I told them, I met a lot of some good people there, and just being able to meet them and see them once just isn't good enough. That's not enough. I knew I wanted to be able to see them again, get some more of their hugs and sing with them and worship and praise and pray together. And so I've been wanting to but I said it was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, and I went there, and you know what the last 2 years have been like since then. Traveling and all kinds of reasons and stuff, problems, why it doesn't make any sense to be able to do that. A lot of things to say, well, it's just not available right now. And so a couple of months ago, I just decided, or really felt, I need to go. I need to just book a trip there and go see them, be able to go say hi. I don't know how or if things will change. The rules and travel are changing all the time, but I just go. We can just go and say hi for a few days. Let's make it happen. And that turned into, and so I talked to Stacy. I said we should just bring, we should bring all of our kids. Let's do it. I know it's not a good time for them. I know that it's difficult with schedules and getting off work and et cetera. And, but let's go. Let's take them on a trip to Mexico. It's a beautiful place. They'll love it, and who knows? And so, because they had never been to Acapulco with us. Stacy and I had been, and then we thought of bringing Kevin and Jenny as well and their family, because their kids are usually together and hanging out. And so we were like, well, if we'll go and make it a good family trip. And they get to travel internationally. Some of them hadn't ever been, and so, we don't have passports. We don't have a way. Well, better hurry, because it's taking them a long time to get passports. So you better get them submitted and better see what you can do. And of course, they submitted them, and they came back in record time, and all this stuff just all worked out. So we're able to go as two families, being able to just see God's beauty, God's handiwork in nature, in countries, in people, and in things, to be able to see how people live, and how they act, and what is normal in some places. That's what I enjoy so much about international travel, is just seeing in these different places what people consider normal, and what they get used to, and what they're content and happy with, and just love. Because a lot of times, if we get too self-focused in our bubble, and a lot of times in stuff in America, becomes the things that we see on social media, and the example of what Instagram pictures of what life is, and we start comparing it to what your life is. You go, well, I don't look like that all the time. Why don't I have those kind of things that all these other people? well, it's not real, but it's still, that's the image that gets portrayed, and people start making you wonder. So to go see how other people are actually living, how other people actually have it, what they can be happy with, it just make you thankful, make you appreciate the things that you have and what God has done for you. So it's a beautiful thing. So I'll let the kids share some. Yeah, we'll run. Ashlyn's put together a slideshow of some of our pictures. We only have like a couple thousand. She didn't use them all. Don't worry. So we're gonna run a slideshow, and then we'll let some of the kids tell some stories about some of the stuff. Go ahead, Will.
Well, that was our trip. I guess we'll just talk about some of our favorite things that we got to experience, which for me, one of the biggest things was definitely all the people we got to meet. There, I feel like they just never met you before, but they just treat you like family with open arms. I feel like the term mi casa es su casa fits well. My house is your house. So, but, sorry. Yeah. I just so thankful of all the families we got to meet, how welcoming they were. I feel like it was definitely a type of trip that had lots of experiences. It made me have many moments of just kind of like, how am I here? Why am I in Mexico? Like, if you had asked me a couple months ago where I would be, you would not say in Acapulco, Mexico, and riding horses through the hills with people never met. But it was definitely something I'm very thankful for. I got to experience, so yeah. Allie?
Yeah, it was really fun, and I don't know if you saw, but there was one time we went to like an outdoor church, and they had some horses that we went on, and Ashlyn went. She had a great time, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. I was already a little bit nervous, so I went on the horse, and I was like already gripping the saddle. We started going. I was on my own horse, and there was a guy on his own horse leading mine. So we were going, and then all of a sudden his horse just takes off running. So mine just takes off running too, following. So I'm gripping the saddle, my legs are hitting bushes, and I was like just getting scared. So finally we stopped, and I was like, oh gosh, okay. I was like, okay, let's keep going. So we started walking again. His horse takes off running again, and mine takes off running. And I was like, no, okay, let's go back. So we walked back, and I was like, oh, we're good. I survived, didn't fall off, got off and looked down, and I see my legs are covered in mud, and I'm bleeding, and I was like, well, that was definitely an experience, but yeah, it was really fun. All the people there they're just so nice and kind and loving, and I made so many new friends, and we'd all just get in big groups and try to talk, because we could barely speak any Spanish, and they spoke a little bit of English.
Thankful for that.
Yeah, we were all just trying to communicate, and there'd be times that we were trying, like we could not figure out what the other was saying. Like we'd try and just couldn't figure out, so we'd all just start laughing and then move on to the next question.
Google Translate was no help. You have no service, so.
But it was really fun. I mean, I'm really grateful for the trip and all the friends I made, and yeah.
Hello, everyone. Oh, I got them up here. I'm probably going to sound like a broken record from what everyone's saying, because it's really it was so amazing just going on this trip. I mean, you didn't know what you're going to expect at any given point of the day. Like, you would think you're going to do one thing, and you end up doing like 10 different things, and all of it, I mean, was great and amazing, and there was tacos everywhere and tortillas, and man, that was probably my favorite part. So I ate so many tacos at 9 in the morning and at 11 o'clock at night, like all the time. But really, the people were just so amazing, and everyone is just so welcoming and so loving. And you like the girl said, you can't really communicate very well, but they, like, on both sides, you want to be able to talk to one another, so you do what you can in broken English and broken Spanish back and forth to each other, and end up figuring out kind of just about them and their family and what they do. And so it's really just, I don't know how we got through it, but it was a very good trip. Everyone had the best time, and it was just the people. I mean, you miss them as soon as you leave, and you're so excited to see them the next day you're there, and then I mean, we were there, I think, about a week, and that was just not enough time. Not because I didn't eat enough tacos, but it was because the people are just, everyone's just so loving and so welcoming, and everything they do, they just like give their all. Like when they're singing and worshiping, I mean, man, the band is playing like so loud, and you got like 15 singers just like full volume, just like, I don't know if you saw the little boy in that video. He was on there a couple of times, but he was like shouting and jumping. He had a tambourine, man. He was like all for it, and he was on beat too. He wasn't even like bad at it. He's pretty good. But he was like, he was a blast to watch. He would just like with everything in him. He was just singing and praising God, and it was just so fun to see. I mean, man, I just had a good time. Yes, those are so, so, I mean, I say that, but I ate so much food, probably don't know what half of it was, but I know I ate a lot of tacos, and fried plantains, and chips, so good.
Yeah, definitely a lot of tacos eaten. I think in total I ate 26. I was counting. In the video you saw that meat they were cutting. I can't remember the name of it, but was taco pescado. That's by. However you say it, it's the best meat there for sure. Definitely the people there, a great experience. They just welcomed us with open arms. This group of strangers, and you could just feel the love coming from them. And it truly was an awesome experience. From the go. Like Jared said earlier, the passports, they were telling us there's probably no way you'll make it in time, but record time, 2 weeks, we got our passports submitted and in the mail, ready to go.
It was a great experience to go on. Like every single person's gonna say and will say, the group of people was the most helpful and nice. For a group of people, the hospitality, they were amazing. Like, they wanted the best for you. They wanted to help you as much as you can. Served us food all the time. You're not sure what it was, but you're going to try it anyways. And we were sitting there one time at church and not sure what to do, so we're kind of just sitting there. Brought us a bowl of stuff and 10 bowls of ingredients, and so some lady comes over and takes things of everything, puts it in my bowl, and pretty hand feeds me the first scoop pretty much. But they just were there to help you and make sure that you had a good time and a good experience. Great experience. The group of people just wanted to live for God. The difficulties and the hardships they have in their country, they never complain. And they'll say nothing to you about it because that's just their way of life. And no matter what they come across, they'll be at church Wednesday, Sunday, Monday. They'll be there. So, great group of people. Good to be around. So,
no comment.
I think it'd be fun. There's no traffic lights, so.
Yeah,
it's like a four-way stop pretty much. First one there goes.
No. There's no stopping. It's not a four-way stop. It's 4 corners, and you just go. Like, the amount of times that I thought for sure we were going to get hit was, I can't even count them, because you literally just go. And then we were talking to some people in the car, and they said, oh, we've been to Texas, and they said when we were driving there, they said, that stresses us out. I mean, you guys like drive so fast, and I'm like sitting in the car, and we're like literally going, like there's 100 cars around you. I'm like, San Antonio stresses you out? Like, this is what should stress you out. It's like nobody stops anywhere. Hills and, speed bumps. I mean, we scrape the bottom of our cars. Like, you go as slow as you can over them, and boom, it's just so much fun. I mean, you're just laughing and having a good time. It's terrifying, but it's so fun. Yeah, purifying, that's a good word. But, you can't really put into so many words what it was until you experience it, because it's just really just such a good time. I mean, it's terrifying, but it's exciting and just fun.
I'd like to say what Grandpa said about how we help them, we send them money and help them. It's definitely a great thing that we do. Helps them a lot. So I encourage that as well. Keep them going strong, and they'll be a light in Mexico. So keep that going. That's a very good thing. Thank you.
It was a blast. We had a lot of fun. I mean, I've never been to Acapulco before, so it was a definite eye-opener. There was a lot of new things I saw. The country is beautiful. I mean, the water is just clear. The mountains, the sunsets, it's just beautiful. The beach, I mean, it's really beautiful there. They got something. But even, like they said, with the mountain terrain, there's very few roads through this huge town. So the traffic is just intense because everybody congregates into these small roads, and they're just limited lanes. Well, they don't really have lanes. They just, if you fit, it's a lane. It's crazy. So I definitely ranked up in my points on driving skills. Because I didn't get her in a wreck. So, and very few wrecks. I mean, I think we saw one bump on a car that had got bumped, but out of all the cars there and the way they drive, that's incredible that they actually managed that. But it was definitely an eye-opener. The tacos, yes, I mean, the tacos are real there. And there's so many different kinds of meat, and it's amazing. It's very good, very good. But really, it's the people. My fondest memories of being there was meeting the people of the church, the families, their hearts. It just moved me with compassion by how much they loved us and showed us love. And they just made you feel like family. I felt like I was one of them the whole time. They just go out of their way to do whatever they could, like kids were saying, to help you. And it was just hard to leave, when you get to know them. So we are doing a good thing by helping them and supporting them. It's really... They need it. They really do. They don't have a lot of opportunities like this country to make money. It's not as easy. It was an eye-opener for me there, too, just to see the country and the city. It's not just something you can easily carve a business out of. You can't just, I'm going to start a lawn business, or a lawnmower shop. It wouldn't really, probably wouldn't work very well there. It's just because of the type of town it is and the terrain. It's just opportunities we have here in America are tremendous. And us being able to help them with a little bit of money we do give them goes a long ways down there. So that's just a very good thing we do. But the experience is, even though we spoke a different language than them, you could have that same connection. God's the same God there as he was here. It's still in our heart. You could feel the same spiritual connection. God still moved there, just same he moved here. It was really tremendous how hungry they are, because they don't have a lot. They don't have a lot to turn to. So they look to God as their help. And when they see an opportunity, they move on it. And there's something to that. God can really move through that faith. And we did pray with a lot of people. And I know there was miracles there. And the baptism was so sweet. Seeing Milton's kids get baptized, that was a precious time. And the others, it really was.
Well, I was yesterday morning, finally had like just a little bit of time to be able to just kind of sit, and I thought, if I could pick, like one thing to say that would sum up what I felt, and like what came to me instantly was God's true church is not weak. God's true church is powerful, and it doesn't matter where it's at. That was kind of like for me, every place we would go, and just, watching and listening and talking to all these people, I'm like, God's true church is not weak. And it felt like I'd never met, these people before. But the second that I was there, I just felt like I was part of them. It wasn't like, oh, you're in a third world country and you have all of these, yeah, they do have different challenges, but yeah, so do we. I mean, America is great, but there's a lot of things that could definitely be better, and there's definitely challenges, but I just, over and over, I was just like, God's church is not weak. His true church and his true people, and that was so, you could feel that with all of them, just the strength that they had in God, how much they lean on the Lord, how much effort they put into taking care of the things that they have, showing up for, each other and what they do. And there's so many moments, but there's a couple just actually three, like real moments that, you find yourself somewhere and you're just like, almost having not an out-of-body experience, but you just have this surreal feeling like what is actually going on right now. And we were we went out to, I don't even know what the place is called, but it was, 40-hour drive probably to this place that this lady, she's probably in her 60s, maybe, at least 60s, that she basically takes like an assisted living, but you wouldn't envision like assisted living here. It's not much. But in this place, there's older people, there's young people, and basically they're there because they either have nobody to take care of them or their families drop them off because they don't want to take care of them anymore. And they're all like lined up because we went and picked up some pizza. We brought pizza to them, and the kids from the church, they sing, and so they brought songs and they were singing to them, and then pray with them, and I think they do this. I don't know how often they do it there, and so I was just, when we finally drive through way outside of town into these tiny little, I'm like, I don't even, if someone said, oh, can you find this place, I don't think I would never in my life, and I'm and I'm standing there, and I'm seeing this lady. She's dressed in the lady that runs the place, she's just dressed in this beautiful white dress, and she's so humble, and we're praying for these people, and you kind of hear some of the stories that go along with why they're there, and it just breaks your heart. But I stood there and I thought, the world would look at this place or these people and just say, they're probably some of the most forgotten people. But when I looked at them, I thought, God, these are some of the most precious people in your eyes. The ones that can't help themselves. And then I look at this lady, and when we were about to leave, Milton said, I want to pray for her, and I was standing next to Milton, and he was telling us that she and her sister both had been diagnosed with cancer a while back, and her sister ended up passing of cancer, but he said we prayed for her, this lady, and she got a miracle healing from cancer. And he said when I met her, she was just skinny and frail, and she's trying to run this place and take care of all these people that literally can't take care of themselves. And she was just healthy, and just, Milton said, it's a miracle. It's like her youth was just like renewed. And so I'm here, I'm standing there, listening to him tell this, and I just thought, I don't even know if I'm worthy to stand next to this lady, because, I know I am. God makes us all worthy, but, I just thought God looks down on someone like that, and when it says, who's, when the disciples thought about who was the greatest in the kingdom, and I thought, I think I'm standing next to some of the greatest in the kingdom, because this lady just, her selfless love, and so I stood there and I was next to her, and I was going to give her a quick hug, and she just completely embraced me, and probably for a minute or two, I just hugged her, and it was one of those moments, I was like, I don't know what's happening right here, because she can't understand me, she doesn't speak English, and there was such strength, and God's true church is not weak. It's not. And, I just thought, how am I here, standing, my kids are with me and praying on people, and then I think it was Sunday, when there were people that wanted prayer, and so we were all, several of us were, praying for people, and someone came over. There was a lady that someone had prayed on, and she was on the floor, and she had a stomach condition that was really bad, and so they said, hey, can you, since you're a lady, can you go put your hands on her stomach? And so I, got down on my knees, and I put my hands on her, and I just started just speaking over her, and then my daughter comes up and gets on her knees, and she puts her hands over my hands, and I'm just, and as both of us are just praying for this lady, I see tears just, flowing down her face, and then I look up and I see one of my boys, Kevin was praying on someone else, and he's, standing behind him, and there's like tears running down his face, and it was like one of those moments, it's like time just stands still, and I just thank God, you are so good. You are so good, and then the Sunday night we went out to the the outdoor church, the one that we've raised money, that had the burned down, restrooms, and we went there, and that place, that was where I had the third moment. I was standing there, and I could just, all I could do is just stand there and say, God, what am I feeling? Like, what is this place? Because it's so, you're out in the middle. It's beautiful, like it's out in the country, but it's, it's so simple. It's just a structure, and, it's got these outdoor bathrooms, and I was so overwhelmed. And right when the kids were, again, they bring their worship team, the kids sing. The whole worship team is like kids, a couple adults, but musicians and singers, and it's the most amazing thing to sit and, sing with these kids and to watch them in their hearts and how they work together. And so when they were going to start singing, Milton got up and he just said, people have been telling me that I'm crazy. Why are you doing this? Why are you building this place? What are you doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? And he stood there and he just said, I just have to tell him, there's something in me, and I just have to keep working, and I just have to keep doing it. It's like he said, I can't explain it because it's inside of me, but there's something I got to do, and I'm supposed to be putting this effort. He'll be out there laying bricks, and he's out there pulling trees, and he's out there, and people are just like, what are you doing? What is this? And as he's telling that, and he said, I want this to be an ark. And it was like, that's really, that in that moment, like when he said that, it was just like, I could just God was just like, there is so much more going on in this place, and there's so much that's going to come out of this place, and, it doesn't look like much. And it looks like, you're crazy, what are you doing? You already have this church in town, why do you need this? And God will take those small things, and it might just start with this passion in your heart, and you don't even maybe fully know what it's going to look like or what it's for sure going to be needed in the end, but he will take those small steps, and he will make things great. And when they entered their service, that's what I told them. I just said, I'm going to try to explain to you guys what I'm feeling right now, but I feel greatness in this that's going to come from this little place, that it's going to be a place of safety. It's going to be a place of the presence of God, and just to be able to stand there and just pray and say, God, your hand is on this property. Like, whatever your will is for this property, whatever you want to do, let it come forth, and to be able to, I was so encouraged. Again, I keep going back to God's true church is not weak. It doesn't matter what it looks like or where it is or what the structure looks like. When it's God's true church, it's strong. And that's what I kept feeling from everybody there is his church is strong. And as much as, you think, we're from America, we're going to go to a third world country, and, we've got everything. And I this whole trip, I was like, I've strengthened. Like, I wasn't coming to something that was weak. And yeah, we have to, iron sharpens iron, and that's what I feel like happened. They sharpened us. In ways that I don't think I even understand fully everything in the Spirit that went on in this trip. Because when God is inside of you, every place that you put your feet, you can claim for God's territory. And the night before we left, we had the room that we had a nice big balcony that was like two-sided, and when I'm praying intensely, I'm a pacer. And it was like my runway. And I was just so overwhelmed, and I walked that balcony, and I was just like, God, we claim this land as yours, like this Acapulco, it will be saved, and these people, and strengthen your church, and find your people. And it's just, everywhere we go, we can claim that territory for the Lord because he's given us that authority. And so, yes, everything that we do to support them is so worth it. and the things that they, give to us, I don't know, God's church is strong, and it's strong.
Yeah, and I can totally say amen to all that, because God's church is very strong. It don't matter where his people is. I mean, they're here, but they're also all over this world. And it's very strong, because God is bigger than all of us. And if he lives inside us, well, we're his children, so we have his power. And I can just say, I wanted to mention Milton and how his heart for the people, it really impressed upon me that he has a desire, a servant's heart. Him and his family are servants to that church, and they really care for the people. I just wanted to mention that because it really made an impression on me, how much he cared and what he did, even for us, but for I could see him doing for the people. Just behind the scenes, he went above and beyond. And that just really touched me.
Yeah, it's a pretty special place, pretty special people, just like you guys are all pretty special people. It's because of God's love. That's my takeaway. It's God's love. It says in the Bible, it says, love the Lord your God with your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But then the next one, love your neighbor as yourself. And you go to the parable of the Good Samaritan. So who is your neighbor? Your neighbor can be your family. Your neighbor can be your physical neighbor. It could be somebody in Mexico. It could be somebody in Walmart. You don't know, but it's about the love of God. And that is just, it hits me every time when we do something like this, because the love, our families, they came with us. The kids, it's out of their comfort zone maybe, but they prayed for people. They got in there. They talked to people. The church down there, the love they poured on us. You guys praying for us. I mean, it takes everybody. And that's just, God's love is so amazing. We got the blessing to go. We're nobody special, why does God want me to go and pray for somebody? It's you're unqualified. He says he qualifies the unqualified, but I guess the thing is whatever is in your heart to do it, because you don't know what difference it'll make to somebody. There's a kid, two kids, teenagers down there that we had seen 2 years ago, prayed for. I prayed for the girl. Simple prayer. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing at that point. I was just like, Lord, help me. This girl needs help. Let me pray for her. They still remembered it. They were there this time. They still remembered it. So it doesn't matter if you feel like you did it right, if you know how to do it. Just do it. And do it whatever is your thing to do. It's different for everybody. And I guess that's just show love, be love. God is love, so we're supposed to be like him. That's pretty much what I got to say. It's love, Jesus love. I love you all. Just that's about where I got.
I got to agree with that, and I want to encourage everybody that you are loved, you have been given everything from the Father, and there are a lot of reasons, a lot of things of excuses. We're not qualified, able, capable of doing this trip. We come up with a lot of things to tell you, no, we don't have passports. I don't know how to do. I can't get off work. I don't know. I'm not. My kids. We're gonna go pray for people or how we're going to make a difference in somebody's life. There's all kinds of, because who's put in enough time, or who's been ordained or had schooling or knows what the principles or the but God's love is given freely. And to be able to just say, Lord, if we can go and by just saying hi to someone, if you want to use me to be your hands and feet, if you want to use my mouth, I'm not qualified, I'm not able, but God says, you have more than enough. And He makes a way. And so it becomes, it's not about whether I have anything for somebody. I can't do anything. I can't heal, fix, make a difference at all. I can't be there for them. I can't be there for them tomorrow. So you've got to go and encourage them and help them, and so that Jesus will be just a little bit stronger in their life. Show them a little bit of Jesus so that Jesus can show up, so that tomorrow, who do they have to turn to? It's not going to be me, but they've got to know Jesus. And one of the times on Sunday, one of the ladies I was praying with, she had I don't even remember what we were praying with her for about, but I was praying for her and just gave her a big hug, and she was clinging on to me, and all of a sudden she grabs me by the shoulders and looking me up and down, trying to looking at me, and I'm just smiling at her, and she says, in broken English, whatever, she says, "Wow," she says, when you were hugging me, she says, I saw Jesus hugging me. And that's what it's all about. That's the only way that it's effective. Because like I told that lady, I said, that's perfect. Because what you got to know is that tomorrow I won't be here to hug you, but Jesus will. And that's our prayer for them, for mankind, that we could make Jesus famous. That they would know Him. Know us, our family, our stuff. We were just some tourists, went and had a good time. Went and just had some epic adventures. Some rough times, some good times, some good food, okay? But if somehow a little bit along the way, along life's journeys, Jesus gets magnified a little bit, somebody's life has changed, it's beyond our comprehension. It's not how our normal mind a lot of times thinks, but God, you can work, you can move with God, you can be a world-changing, God-fearing man of God, woman of God that absolutely changes the world. And don't let big complications and things get in the way of why you're not qualified, why you're not able, why you can't. You got to know, have a relationship with the Lord God Almighty, know that foundation that you're standing on, be unmovable, so that whatever gets put in front of you, all we can do is say, God, I know you are able. I know you can do it. I don't know what this person's even trying to tell me. They need something bad. But God, you're able. You are more than enough. And He comes through. He comes through. He works. He gets you through all kinds of situations, all kinds of things, wherever you may be. But being able to just be family and just to love somebody it's all God needs. Just needs somebody who knows the God they serve and is willing to just, Lord, I don't even know how I got here, what I'm doing here, but God. And He makes a way. And I love, Milton had told me, right after, I think it was after a Sunday when we prayed for a bunch of people and stuff. Him and I were talking. He said, I don't even know Kevin. He said, I'd never met him before. But he said when we were going to pray, a lady came up, wanted prayer for something, and he said, Kevin, he doesn't say much. I haven't talked to him, hear from him too much. And so he said, I went over with him to translate. Kevin just walks up to the person and just started talking to him quietly. And Milton says, I had to grab on to something. And he says, he said a few soft things to this person, and Spirit just took them down. He went on to the next person and said the same thing. That, just carrying God inside of you, is all you need. It's not about thinking you've got all the words, all the stuff that you need to be telling people. I need to tell them, they need to know. They're thinking, they're understanding this isn't right. They're messed up on this, and so we need to preach it into them, preach it out of them, whatever it may be. Sometimes, most of the time, probably all the time, letting God do the work is worth a whole lot more. Letting God do the work. Lord, however it is, whatever it is you want me to do, it's not about me. If you want to use my hands and my feet, come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Make us stronger. Make us a better family. That's one thing I definitely learned in Mexico saw a good example of is them being a family. And being a family to people and to kids and the stuff that are there able to come to the church all the time. Sometimes that some of them they have to pick up from places. They're riding a taxi to somewhere and then they pick up because they live a ways. They don't have other stuff. I don't know what their home life or things is. but being able to just care for each other, to be able to check with each other, knowing how each other is doing. And they work together as a family. It's not about the church taking care of somebody. A lot of people might go, well, I went to the church, or that the church doesn't do a good job of X, Y, Z. But what is the church? It's what is God's commandments? What has God said for people, for individuals, that you are supposed to love, that we are supposed to give out, that we are supposed to be? He doesn't have the commandments that what the church, what an organization, what things are. It's supposed to be a family. We're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be as individuals, loving, helping, taking care of each other. And I need to do a lot better at that. And I want to encourage everybody, because I see how it helps other people and in other cultures and other things, to how it supports and how it encourages them and keeps them going. But let's be a family. Let's be like the verse that Stacy read, is that you're supposed to love your neighbor. And who is our neighbor? It's not just whether they're living next door to us, living in the same house as us, or going to the same activities, places. Let's learn to love mankind just a little bit better. It doesn't take, we're not qualified, it doesn't take our understanding, our abilities. God has given us the ability to spread His love. God has given us all we need. We can help. We can make a difference with the very next person that you see next to you. You can absolutely make a difference in their life, and God makes it so easy. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm very blessed to have had the opportunity to take this trip with my family and the Kampmeyers. Thank you very much for listening to us, and I hope that in some way we're able to express in just the smallest bit the amount of love of God that we were able to experience and see, and because God is good. It's beautiful.
Well, I think in the order of the best parts of the trip, it went from tacos to the people and the love of the people. And probably not in that order, but it's always a good time. And I think on a trip like this, that the people that are most impacted are right there, right here. You're the ones that when you are pouring out to someone else, and when you are surrendering some of your time and your life, that it pours back on you. It makes a huge, huge difference. And I liked what Jenny said and what she shared even during worship here. God's true church is not weak. Please understand that, because that is so important. Who qualified any of these families to pray for another. Okay? God will qualify the unqualified. Who qualified the Pharisee to come preach Jesus, a Pharisee who was a murderer? Paul, okay? At that time, Saul. He was a murderer, but yet Jesus met him on that road to Damascus and was converted. So don't ever assume that you don't have something inside of you. So if we can turn some music on as we close here, I'd like to everybody just stand. We'll pray. Put the announcements up on the screen here.